wake up and realize I had it all. It seemed like
Hey, how you doing out there? It's your brother, it's your friend Chris Harris. I'm back with you again here at Open Doors. We have another great topic, another great episode. Before we get started, I need you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, because here at Open Doors, we're dropping episodes fast. And as they come, we want to give it right to you, all right? Let's get started. I want us today, because you and I, we are the church. If you're a believer of Jesus Christ, right? We're the church. It's not the building, it's you and I. We're the church. So I want to have a conversation. Sometimes the church doesn't like to have certain conversations. And it's just a conversation. I'm not saying what I'm saying is the right answer, but it's just that a dialogue, a conversation. So let's get started. I want us to have a conversation. This is the conversation. When it comes to birth control. Now, many of us have used birth control, contraceptives in some form or fashion. Many of us, probably all of us, if I can make that statement. But I want to ask this question to the church, to the disciple of Jesus, to the Christian. Is birth control, when it comes to the word of God, when it comes to God, is it a sin? Is birth control a sin? Let's have a conversation. But before we do that, I want to play this quick video and then we'll jump right into it, all right?
Jane?
I'm no theologian, so I don't know what the Bible, I can't come up with a verse that the Bible says directly about that, but if you have sex, your chances of having a baby are very high.
Yeah,
So
that happens.
That's science. So if you want lots and lots of kids, no birth control. But if you are like, I think we can do 2, 3, then maybe birth control is a good thing. I don't think that is, in my opinion, a sin or unbiblical or whatever. So,
You know what you call couples that don't use birth control? Parents. I don't think that the Bible speaks to positively or negatively to using birth control. I think that it is, in some cases, it's wise. I think this is a situation where couples need to come together and determine, it's like, how long are we going to wait before we have kids? What do we believe is the number of children that we are supposed to have? Jane and I were really good at making babies. I mean, in our 20s, I looked at her and she got pregnant. And so I was 27 and she's like, you're getting fixed. And I'm like, I ain't getting fixed. I'm still young. I'm ready to roll. And she's like, no, well, you're not rolling over here until you go see Dr. Through, because we through. And so at 27, I got fixed. I will say that we had wished we maybe had 1 or 2 more later on, so be cautious in how you take care of that. But I think that there is wisdom in couples. Now, I'm not talking about the morning after pill. I'm not talking about abortion. I'm not talking about any of those kinds of things. That's not contraception. But what I am talking about is planning your families and being wise in that.
yeah, I was totally going to say that too, that people are using abortion now as birth control. You know, it's the morning after pill, or I don't even know what the other one is, or just a full-fledged abortion.
All right, let's get into it. Now, they said something in the video, and I'm asking those who are believers of Jesus Christ, this is for you. This is for the church, the disciple of Jesus, the son and daughter of God. This is for you. Is birth control, contraceptives, is it a sin biblically? You saw I think they probably are a couple talking about their experiences. And he says something, the gentleman, he says something, because he said, they had a couple kids at 27. He said his wife was like, "You're done, or we're done." And he had a vasectomy. He got snipped, you know. So let's get into it. That's a form of contraceptive. That's a form of birth control. Is it a sin? Because God said, what did he say? He said, be fruitful and multiply. When he created man, that was the charge, that was the command to be fruitful and multiply. So when you stop, or when you do things to stop the fruitfulness, when you do things to stop the multiplying, is that a sin? And let's look at it. Let's dive into it. Because he says something. He said that at 27, he got the procedure done. He stopped. But the question is, did God want him to stop? Did God want that couple to stop? What had God planned for that couple? This married couple. And he said that, sometimes I wish we would have had one or two more. But could that have been the will of God for them to have one or two more? And did they fight or stop the will of God concerning their life and concerning their family? We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. Because what's the reasons now that you would use birth control? Let's start there. What's the reason that you would use contraceptive? And I guess we got to look at it from someone who's single to someone who's married. Let's start with the single person first. What's the reason to use birth control? You're probably saying, so we won't get pregnant, duh, right? But we're talking to the church. We're talking to the child of God. And isn't it true that if you're single and you're engaging in sexual intercourse, now you're saying, oh, I want to have sexual intercourse and not get pregnant. That's the reason why I would use birth control most times, right? If you're having sex outside of marriage, that's fornication. That's a sin. Let's go to the married person. You're married. It's legal. We like to say, oh, it's legal when we're married. We can have lots and lots of meetings. Me and the wife. It's legal. We're married, right? So if a married couple is using birth control, why? Why are you using birth control? Because God said, be fruitful and multiply. Are you doing it for health reasons? Some people say, we do it for health reasons. There are certain health challenges. There are certain health things going on that we do it for health reasons. Some will say, well, you should just trust God. Is there ever a reason why you should use birth control as a married couple? Is there ever a reason? Is birth control contraceptives a sin when it comes to a child of God? There are so many different types. I was doing research as I was preparing for this episode, and I was talking to my wife. I said, my goodness, there are so many different types of birth control / contraceptives. The man says something, and let me just start right there. He said that, I'm not talking about the morning after pill. He said, that's abortion. Let me throw that out you. Is the morning after pill birth control contraceptive? Is that abortion? Because when you look at the morning after pill, it's labeled emergency contraceptive. Is the morning after pill, because you're trying to stop from getting pregnant, right? The morning after pill, you're stopping from getting pregnant. He said, that's abortion. What's your thoughts on that? Is that abortion? Because when you Google, when you look up morning after pill, it's under the title emergency contraceptive. That's what it's labeled as. It's not labeled as an abortion. It's labeled as emergency birth control or emergency contraceptive. I would love to hear your thoughts on that, but let's get back to it. There are so many I was looking up. There's the intrauterine devices. There are the birth control pills. They have the shots. People take the shots. There's so many birth control, of course, the condoms. I was even looking, they have female condoms. They have the vaginal rings. They have, so many different things. I don't know the names of all of them with the T-shaped device that they insert in your uterus. There are so many different birth control procedures and birth control methods, but are they biblical? Are they biblical? Are they biblical? As a child of God, as a Christian, are they biblical? Like I said, most of us have used birth control at some point in time. Even with myself, I used it. I can't remember for what reason while we were married, but we used, contraceptives. We use condoms. I think it was for health reasons, that we used them at one point in time, for a time and a space that we used them, because the doctor had recommended it if we wanted to be intimate as husband and wife, because of some health reasons that were going on with my wife, that we had to use that for a time and a space. And hey, I wasn't waiting. I was like, hey, this is my wife. I'm a man. I got, so we used the contraceptives. But should we have used it? Should we have used it? The Bible said, "In all thy getting, get understanding." Should we have used it? Is there ever, as a child of God, should we ever be using contraceptives? I want to know. I want to know. I want to know. There's so many of them. There are so many. I was looking and I'm like, my goodness, there are so many birth control to stop birth. And birth comes from God, right? God is the author of life. Let's just put that into our spirit right now. Let's put that into our mind and our heart. God is the author of life. They got so many devices out there. They have procedures to block the fallopian tubes and so many, the vasectomies and the shots, the patches. They have patches. They have so many. I was like, my goodness, they have so many methods, the pills, the things that you insert into the uterus. There are so many. The sponge, they have a sponge they were talking about. So much to block birth. And birth comes from God. I just want us to have a conversation. I just want us to talk about it. I want you to think about it. I want you to meditate on it and begin to chew on this, because as Christians, should we be using these things? Is there ever a reason? Like I said, I used it before with me and my wife, but were we negligent? Hey, I'm a Christian, but were we negligent? As I look back, were we negligent? Should we have used it, or should we have, like some would say, trust God, have faith in God? And now a lot of Christians and a lot of people are saying, oh, well, you shouldn't use the birth control pills. There's so many they have out there. They have it seemed like a million out there as I was doing my research. But they say, oh, natural birth control, natural family planning. Because I understand, like, let's be honest, right? I understand, like, look at the society we live in today. It's expensive to raise kids. Sometimes I look back at our grandparents and our great grandparents, and they came from families who had 10, 12 more kids. And you look back, I couldn't dare even dream about, think about having, more than, a couple of kids, because of the expense. But times were different. The costs were different. The lifestyles were different. So it was a different time frame, right? But life comes from God. And if God opens that womb for us, shouldn't we trust him that he will provide our needs as we have those children? Remember in the beginning, when God made man, he said, be fruitful and multiply. But this is what they're saying now. They're saying, oh, there's natural family planning. And this is what they're saying. I found out. They're saying that, oh, a woman knows when she's ovulating, right? A woman knows when she's ovulating. So a lot of people are doing this, that they're not having intercourse. They're not having intimacy during her period of ovulation, because they want to plan when they want to have kids. Should we be planning when we want to have kids? If you're married, and like I said, I'm not even talking to the single people, because if you're having sex outside of marriage, hey, we're Christians, we're children of God. I may be on my soapbox, but I have to be on my soapbox because we have to. The Bible said true love doesn't boast in iniquity, but it boasts in truth. Truth is, you're fornicating, you're sinning, you're fornicating. You shouldn't be having sex outside of marriage. I'm going to say it out there. If I'm just gonna say it, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be that one to say it. You shouldn't be having. So I'm not even gonna talk to you, but I'm talking to married Christians right now. Should we be family planning? Because is it about our plans or is it about the plans of God? A lot of times when we talk about our plans. We talk about our plans like, oh, I left that church because I didn't like that pastor. I didn't like that minister. I left that job because of I want to do this before I have kids. It's always the I's. But to be with God, you have to crack that I. God is not about the I. Jesus could have just worried about the I. But Jesus said, no. He looked at the sheep. He looked at the children of God. He died for them. He gave his life for them. He said, I didn't come to serve. He said, I didn't come to be served. I came to serve. He wasn't about the I. Sometimes you have to crack that I and be selfless. It's not about I. It's not about I. So a lot of times it's about I have to do this. It's about I. We're so self-centered. We're so self-centered. It's all about us. But what is the will of God? What is the plans of God? What is God's will? One of my sisters, she was telling me, even with birth control, when God wants you to have that baby, you're going to have that baby, which is true. I believe that's true. That's true. But sometimes we fight with God. We fight with the timing of God. There is the time of men. There is time, but then there's God's time. There is time, God's timing. We fight with God's time. We delay certain things because we're always focused on I. So should we be doing that? Because now people are saying, well, I know as a woman, women know when they're ovulating. So they say we just won't have intercourse that moment. And we will have intercourse when I'm not ovulating to stop from getting pregnant or to cut down the potential of conceiving, of getting pregnant. So is that sinful? Is that sinful? Is that sinful? Should we have that mindset or should we just trust God? Like I said, I'm talking to the church. You heathens out there, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to those who say they are believers of Jesus Christ. You heathens out there, go do something else. You do something else. But no, for real, like all jokes aside, is it sinful? I just like to have a conversation about it because God said be fruitful and multiply. There's a story in the Bible, Genesis 38, Judah, who's the son of Jacob. Many of you heard this story where Judah had 3 sons. And the oldest son, had married, but he died. He didn't just die. God killed him because he did wicked in the eyes of the Lord. But it was the custom if a brother died and who was married and had no kids, it was the custom of the next in line, the next brother, to go in and be with the widow, the wife, to preserve the hierarchy, to preserve the lineage for the other brother. So the next brother in line, Onan, that was his assignment. That was his duty. But he didn't want, because he was thinking about he said, if I get my brother's wife pregnant, if she conceives, the son that comes out, the heir won't be for me. The blessing won't be for me. It'll be for my brother and his family. So he went in to the wife, to the widow, to his brother's wife. But when it came to the point where he was to climax, when he came to that point, he released it on the ground. And God became angry and killed him. That was a form of birth control. That was a form of contraceptive to stop birth. He said, I won't climax and release in my brother's wife, in this woman. I'll release it on the ground to stop birth. And God killed him. Just to let that, marinate into your spirit when it comes to the heart and the mind of God. Again, he said, be fruitful and multiply. That was his command. And life comes from God. So are we hindering the will of God when it comes to birth control, Talk to me. Talk to me. Let me know in the comment. Like I said, anything I said, not saying I have the gospel when it comes to it. I have the ultimate, but it's with a church. With a church, we need to have understanding. We need to know the mind of God concerning our lives as the church. So talk to me. I would love to hear your input on it. I would love to hear your wisdom in it. I would love to hear your take. All right, talk to me. Before I get out of here, I want to give a shout out to the Dream Team, Blessed Dreams Production, my boy Alfred, and Eyes Have Not Seen, my sister Marilyn. Remember to connect with me on Instagram, Young King 1982. And until the next time another episode drops here at Open Doors, be blessed. Talk to you soon.
Don't ever take nothing for granted, man. Hey, you gotta wake up and realize that it all.